are listening to Pub Royalty Queen Podcast, a place to empower women of color in the music business. Welcome to another episode of Pub Royalty Queen Podcast. This is your host, Janisha Jones, back with another special guest. Today we have Cheyenne Anthony. Cheyenne is a product manager for one of the most coveted urban labels in the world right now. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Cheyenne and building a new relationship with her, as we're both very passionate about uplifting women of color in the music industry. She just exudes big boss energy, so I knew I had to have her on the show. So without further ado, welcome Cheyenne to Pub Royalty Queen Podcast. How you feeling?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, thank you. This is just an opportunity for us to build a connection and bridge the gap between women of color in the industry, get to learn what it is that we do and how we can uplift other women and get them inspired to speak up and join the club. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. And I love that this is something that you're doing and celebrating women
Yes.
within the industry.
Thank you. So let's just dive right in. Tell me about your journey coming up in the music business and what roles led to you becoming the product manager for this urban label.
Yeah, absolutely. So interestingly enough, I didn't start off in the industry. I know a lot of people start off when they're in high school, they're on street team, but I actually started after I graduated from graduate school. So I started off as an intern for Jadena at the time. I had just finished my master's program at UPenn, and I was studying mental health counseling. And I really wanted to work with artists and doing therapy and trying to help them navigate through the industry, right? Because they deal with so much. So I wanted to just embed myself in the industry and kind of get to know what the day-to-day operations of an artist is like, to see if like what I wanted to do made sense, if it had a foot in the industry, because it wasn't something that was really like coveted, or wasn't something it wasn't a path that was actually laid out. So it was really like more so experimenting. So I got the opportunity to intern for Jadena, and I was an intern for about a year. And then I was like, wow, I actually like this work. I like the day-to-day, pretty cool. And he offered me to be his assistant. So I had to move to Atlanta to be his assistant, which was great because I was doing everything from scheduling to even weighing in on the creative side. So that grew into me becoming more of a creative coordinator. So I got the opportunity to style him in a couple of video shoots, style him for his tour, which was really great experience. And I think once I had that a real hand in building an artist, because when I came on, it was really like when he just released Classic Man. So it was really like the beginning.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. And I seem to be pretty good at it. And I realized that like being in the day-to-day with an artist is almost like me still being or providing those therapeutic services, because, you know what they have going on, you're there here in times where like in the kitchen cooking or something like that, and we're having a heart to heart. And I was like, wow, like I'm still doing the work, even though I don't have that exact therapist title. So I think that was really heartwarming for me. And then from there, I was like, all right, I got this experience. I definitely want to expand. I wanted to do more like marketing. So I left and I was doing my own thing. And then I got the opportunity. I met Shari Bryant, my mentor, introduced me to Shari Bryant. And they had this opportunity over at Dream Chasers, really building it as a company. And she was like, hey, do you want to like come help us or whatever? And I'm thinking it's a whole company or whatever. It's just like, nah, it's just right now it's just me, you, and Meek. And I was like, oh, all right, well then, yeah, I'm down for sure. So that was really like my start on the like more corporate label side. So I worked with them for 3 years, building that up. And then I transitioned over to Roc Nation, which was really more of like fluid transition because Dream Chasers had the joint venture with Roc Nation. So I was already working in the building, but it was more so just moving over and being able to hone in on my marketing skills and focus on. So I still have the Dream Chaser roster, but then I also have some Roc Nation artists as well.
Got you. That's
Yeah.
so amazing. Like the fact that someone just lifted you into that position. Like they
Yeah.
must have seen something beautiful in you and skillful in you to tap you and say, hey, we need you over here. And to kind of like work your way from, becoming an intern to now the marketing manager at Roc Nation. It's amazing that you're doing that. So working with Jidenna.
It was great. I mean, like, it's funny because like that's really a friend of mine. Like I can truly say, and it was really beautiful because his team was like great. Our minds just aligned, our vision, just how we're so passionate about the Black community. It was really like perfect, our situation, because I was also doing some community work, which I'll get into. But that team is really like my family. We did live within under the same roof in Atlanta. So I really got to know everyone. But it was great. It was a huge house. We all had our separate sides, but it was like a creative experience. It was like you hear someone creating a beat right here, another person, we working on treatments over here, another person dancing, on the side in the mirror.
Collaborative.
It was amazing. And I think that allowed me to become, obviously, that really, I was allowed to hone in on my creative skills, work on treatments and different things. And he allowed everyone to just explore and be who they are. And I love that. And then we're still friends up until this day. But I think it was amazing working with him, the Fair and Fancy team, Janelle Monáe team, Wonderland. It was really amazing.
Some of the most eclectic and creative people out there,
Right. And this was my first experience coming in. So I was really blessed.
Absolutely.
And I still speak to Jidenna all the time. I throw him ideas. We're still collaborative, even though I'm still doing my thing. But here, I still always keep them in mind when I see like opportunities that I think will be dope for him.
That's like family. So interestingly, I used to be an artist manager back in the day, and I quickly realized that wasn't something that was for me because, like you said, it is a lot of babysitting that goes into it. It's like it's a 24-hour job. So, talk to us a little bit about what that experience is like being a manager.
Yes. So, I mean, going from being an assistant to then being a manager, I already knew a little bit about what it took because, again, working specifically for an artist and being an assistant, I was working very closely with his day-to-day manager and his overall team. So that prepped me because, I was doing a lot of scheduling and on emails and just making sure that he was on point. And that's virtually what a manager is, an artist manager is. So going in from being an assistant and then coming on board to Dream Chasers, and we was managing young artists who are now coming into the game, but they had hot records. That really, it was, and it still is an experience, to say the least, right? Because a lot of your days aren't your own. You got to worry about what they got going on. And you have to know their entire schedule for the next month, 2 months, 3 months by heart, right? Because if anybody calls you and you're like, hey, is this date open? You got to know, or else sometimes you give people quick answers or else, that's money lost on the table. But other than that, I think it was really a beautiful experience to be able to help young artists come up in this industry and really guide them and, be that therapist that they need sometimes, when they need an ear or when they're going through it, when they feel like, am I doing the right thing? Like, is this going to work? What am I doing wrong? And I'm like, no, you're doing everything that's right. You just got to be consistent and really believe in yourself. Because the issue is now is that because of social media, all these artists are coming up and they're becoming famous so quick, right?
Right.
Not realizing that there's still a lot of work that needs to go in and be put in to maintain that.
Absolutely.
Right? Because what's going to happen if you start here, you can quickly drop. So in order to maintain, you're going to have to put in some work, even though it came very quickly to you.
Yes.
So
and especially the kinds of artists that we represent, they're coming from the trenches most of the time. And once you get that immediate success and you're got all this money, all this clout and, you know, fan base surrounding you, people are just yes men around you all the time. It's very hard for you to understand there's a balance there and still maintain your humility and then address the traumas and triggers that you've experienced growing up so that you're not creating a cycle or continuing the cycle that we see often happen in our community. So that's really interesting. I'm glad to hear that you're still out there grinding. And what would you say? Have you had mentors in the industry, or and how instrumental were they in bringing you, you know, to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a mentor. His name is Teddy, and he's really helped me and mold me to be in the position that I am today. He's the one who introduced me to Shari, who's my current boss.
Mm.
Well, other than that, it's super important because I think having a mentor who AKA is also my sponsor. And that's something also sidebar, right? That I've learned coming up as I was even like seeking and going into the job force is what's the importance of having a mentor, but also what's the difference between a mentor and a sponsor, right?
Yes.
Mentor is someone who's gonna give you advice and like guide you and teach you certain things, but a sponsor is someone who's gonna provide you opportunity and mention your names in rooms, right, and slide you plugs and things like that. And I think that's really important, is having someone who will not only provide you with advice and honest, true advice, but also advocate for you.
Exactly.
So having that person, he advocates for me, like even when I'm not in the room, you know, he'll tell people like, oh yeah, I might not be able to do this, but I got someone else who might be able to, and he might slide me a job or a couple good looks, you know. And I think that's really important because this industry is all about relationships and doing your due diligence and networking and following up and having real relationships, right? Like not surface level. And obviously, you know, you won't be able to keep in the most contact with everyone, right, at all times, because we're all busy. But at the same time, it's all about checking in with people too and just making sure that people are good. And it's like, all right, I know you asking me how I am. I haven't spoke to you in a year. You about to ask me something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you get that text, like, why they hit me up? You know what I'm saying? But I think it's really important coming up in this industry is really like nurturing your relationships and making sure people are good and like, you know, hitting people up, not just wanting it, like, yo, I thought about you. You good? You straight? Like, you need anything? You know, and I think that's really important, is taking care of people, you know, and not, we all trying to climb the ladder. You know what I'm saying? We all trying to get it. We all trying to make it, but we got to bring our people up with us too.
That's a fact. And that's something we echo all the time here on the podcast, is about not just saying someone's name in the room, not just saying, oh, they might be good for this opportunity, but actually just checking in. Like, how you doing, girl? Like, it's stressful out here. I see you out there grinding all day, 24 hours. Like you said, it's a 24-hour job. Like, you're out there all the time. I'm sure it's like a lot on your head and a lot on your shoulders that you're carrying. So just to have someone to just tap in with you, like, girl, do you need a break?
Can we go get a drink?
Yeah, let's go grab a coffee. Like, you know what I mean? Just take a load off for a second. Get your mind right. Just having somebody that has that support, having that support system is amazing. And I've never heard anyone actually say like the difference between the sponsor and a mentor. And I think that was extremely valid what you said, because we tend to conflate the two. Like, we want our advisor or our mentor to be the person that's saying our names in the rooms and actually like, hey, there's a paid opportunity here, you know, but that's not necessarily their job. Their job is to use their experience and to help guide you from their wisdom, their learned behavior. So, and then like you said, a sponsor, which I feel like is harder to find, is a sponsor. Someone that actually sees your skill set and sees your value and can say, here's how we're going to compound those skills and talents into some real business, you know. So that's how would someone go about finding a sponsor? I don't know that that's your lane necessarily, but how does something like that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it kind of just fell in my lap. I think I nurtured a relationship, how someone was able to help someone else at the role that they provided a specific person. And I said, wow, like they're tapped in, and I just need to reach out and just ask, hey, do you need help with anything? I wasn't afraid to work for free, I
Yes.
think I understood the value, right? I'm getting something else. I'm getting compensated in
Yes.
another way. And that's also something that people have to understand as well in this industry is sometimes you're going to have to work for free, right? And understand that compensation might not come in a monetary form, but it's going to come back in some way, somehow, especially if you're dealing with a good person, because there's many a times where needed a solid from someone like my content. I might not have the budget to capture content, but I'm like, yo, I got you. And I made sure I spun the block and made sure that if I had another paid opportunity that, all right, I'm gonna book this person because they held me down this time. And I think when you find those type of people, you have to make sure they're good. Once you're able to build that rapport, then maybe that person will transform into like a mentor or a sponsor. I think though the right person for you, you don't just go out and seek. I think it just, for me at least, I can say like fell into my lap, but that was something that it was also something I had to work towards, right? It didn't just fall in my lap and then boom, that's what it become. But I had to really build that relationship. And I think it's all about like building that relationship with the person you think will be best or aligns best with your journey.
That's a fact. All right. I appreciate that because I'm out here trying to find a sponsor myself. But you're right. It is about cultivating the relationship, but also staying on your grind enough where people can recognize your talent and say, hey, I see what you're doing. Let me help you get to the next level. Because then that also benefits them in some way.
Right. I mean, like, listen, people aren't just, I mean, there's people out there who might just help, but like, if you really want real help, right, you're going to have to put yourself in a position to be helped.
Yes.
And make yourself seem, it's all about a give and take, right? Like no one's going to put in something that they feel like there's not going to get a return. It just doesn't make sense, especially if you're dealing with business-oriented people, right? It's all about like a return, let's be honest. So, I'm going to build you up, but the reason I'm going to help build you up is because we're going to help create something beautiful together, hopefully.
Exactly. Yes. I love that. It's not for that. That's exactly why I created this podcast too. I feel like there's so many opportunities for women to just come together and build something great for one another. And I don't feel like there are enough platforms for Black women, especially, to make that happen. Although there is a lot more of like trending towards putting a spotlight on Black women, a lot of times it falls into the optic side or just because it's trendy. But they don't really want the real aspect of it. You know what I mean?
They're not going to be handed to you. We got to work. We got to work. And, people aren't just going to give and give. It got to be a give and take. You got to do something as well, for the relationship to really work and really flourish. If it's one-sided, then it's not going to be the at its optimal peak.
Exactly. Great points. So there are so many challenges that are unique to women of color in the music business. Can you describe for us one adversity that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, sure. I think working in a male-dominated industry, you deal with things, microaggressions every day. I've had the honor of working with majority people of color. The artist teams I've worked with, the label I work with is Black owned, so I have had certain experiences like some of my counterparts working at like other labels or other companies. But what I would say is working as a woman in this industry, there's advances, there's things that we have to battle every day because, we're a woman, or they feel like we shouldn't be in certain rooms, or, we can't be in the studio. I've been in studio sessions where someone said like, all right, the men are working, you should leave now. And I'm like, whoa.
What?
Actually, I'm the one
As am I.
Actually, I set the session up. How about that?
That's right.
I did not make it happen. So
right.
But it's like that, it's the fact that people feel like because you look a certain way or because you're a woman that there's certain things you can't do or you shouldn't be doing. But no, baby, you are mistaken. All right. You can do any and everything, and more than likely you can probably do it better than you.
Big
Because
facts.
I think that what the special thing about women, and there's a lot of male executives coming out now who are like, I only work with women, to be honest. They do
Yeah.
because we're detail oriented. We take our time, we're
Yes.
intricate, we're
Multitaskers.
caregivers, what multitaskers, we're able to do multiple things and not lose our shit. And I love that people are now coming out and be like, yo, women do. I know Diddy even was like, yeah, I only work with women. His whole team, his close team, his day-to-day team is nothing but women. And I think once people realize that, then they'll be better in the world.
It's true. And then to add to that, in terms of hiring women of color to be a part of your core team, I feel like one of the things we talk about a lot here is that we go above and beyond the expectations more than, I would say, most people because we feel like we have a lot more to lose. You know what I mean? So we're working 10 times harder. We're, stepping outside of the box more than other people because we understand that the risk is worth the reward at the end. And a lot of the times it's what we're doing that's speaking to the collective. It's not necessarily just on us as individuals. What we're doing speaks to everyone else who might be coming up behind us. So that's part of why I think it's so important to have not just women on your team, but women of color, because we're more than likely going the extra mile to get a project done.
Right.
And without complaint, with a smile on our face, which is
right. And we have great ideas, we're just as creative. And I think we're in tune, and women are a lot of the biggest consumers in a lot of different ways. So I think having our opinion, having us on the team to be able to weigh in and like, this is what we want to see. This is because we really dictate the culture, to be honest.
Yeah.
So people want to look like us, they want to be like us, act like us. Let's be serious. So it only makes sense. Why would you not have the person who drives the culture on your team, leading your team?
Exactly.
Is only gonna do you justice at some point.
That's right. We're constantly moving the needle forward. And so even in that regard, we need to tap in with the Black women, make sure that we're getting put on too.
Right.
So what would you say was your mama, I made it moment where you realized you were on the right track, and what characteristics do you attribute to having gotten to that point?
So that question is interesting, right? Because I don't think I've had that moment yet. Sometimes I think because I'm always in it and I'm always like, what's next, that I never really live in the moment. And I think that that's something that I'm working on, living in the moment, because then you realize, you look down years like, damn, I did all of this, which is great then, but it's like, wow, I should have actually enjoyed it and really looked up, right? Instead of looking down. So I would say I don't feel like I've had that moment yet, but I think maybe going to the Roc Nation brunch was pretty dope.
I mean,
around, Black excellence, and seeing Diddy over here, Kevin Hart literally cracking jokes in front of my face, and I'm like a fly on the wall, like you don't really know me, but I'm like, this is fire, So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think I always I'm trying now to really live in the moment, and like being here right now and sitting with you is like, wow, this is like a mama, I made it, because some people are interested in my story, and I think that's pretty cool, right? Like, am I really that interesting? But I think I do have
something. Are you kidding?
No, but I think now it's like everyone has something to offer, and realizing that I have something to offer the world with my experiences, and just trying to inspire and be there for others and help people along the way. I think that's what's really most important, is really helping others and bring up the next generation, to be honest.
I love that. Yes, girl. That is such a thing with this, that I feel like so many of us have said, is like, it's hard for us to just sit in the moment, like you said, and appreciate where we are, appreciate the hard work and how much has come out of that hard work. Like you said, we're always looking towards the future and what we can do better, what we can do more. But it's like, man, we're just human. And the fact that we've been able to get as far as we have, that's a feat in itself. So to be able to sit down and really celebrate yourself, that's part of the podcast too. Like, I want to make sure that we're giving each other our roses now, giving our flowers now, because we have contributed a lot to the culture. We have contributed a lot to this industry, and we don't get a chance to really sit with that and just enjoy it.
Right. I was sitting with a group of women about a month ago, and I was sharing with them, I think we were talking about just what we wanted to do next. What's crazy is I don't know what I want to do next. I think I've had my life plans out for so long that I've always been like, all right, well, I've gotten this accomplished. Now I need to go to the next thing. And there was never like all right, I'm actually here. Like right now I'm doing what I always wanted to do when I first entered, and now I'm like, oh no, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't really doing much, but actually realizing that I'm where I wanted to be 5 years ago is a true celebration. Living in that and maybe not having another goal to accomplish, and just kind of living with the moment and seeing what comes next. I'm all about like not forcing anything. Obviously, you want to have a plan, right? Or some sort of idea or direction. You don't want to move blind. But I'm all about not forcing anything now. I just feel like, what's for you is for you. And as long as you are true to yourself and you put in the work, it will come to fruition. It will happen. Just put in the work and be consistent.
Absolutely. Yes, that is a word. Snap for that too. I mean, you just dropping in gems today. You just dropping in gems.
Yes.
Right. And it's so funny because I do feel like we have a tendency to overplan our lives. And then someone said on the last episode that we have a tendency to want things to fall into line exactly how we want it. And we don't allow the space for the universe to create the opportunity for us. And then once we get there, it may not be what we intended for us. Right. So yes, as they come, but also like being prepared for the opportunity if it does present itself. I think that's where the magic actually happens, right?
Right.
And yeah, in terms of like inspiring other people, I mean, you're just by you being you and doing the things that you're doing is inspiring other people, because not everybody gets the chance to work in this industry. It's very competitive, and I don't know, New York, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in New York for 7 years before coming out to LA. I know that the grind is heavy out there. You're constantly on the rat race out there. Like, it's a constant hustle. So it's not a minute really that you get a chance to just sit and take it all in. You have to be on the go. It's just the nature of being out there. So I think it's important what you said about just being present and taking it all in. Yeah, girl, enjoy and celebrate yourself.
Yeah. I'm trying. Yes. And taking little trips here and there and just putting my phone on D&D. I love that feature. Like, please do not disturb me. Please, on the weekend, like some of my friends know, they'll call me, go straight to voicemail, or her phone on D&D. Like, I just need that time to just not talk to nobody.
Exactly.
Into my phone and just.
It's hard sometimes to like disconnect from your job, especially the kind of position that you have, that everything is kind of like urgent. Everything's just like all these moving pieces at one time. You can't really drop the ball. So how do you give yourself that grace at the same time to say, you know what, I'm just going to disconnect. Give me like 24 hours. I'll be back.
Yeah. At first I didn't do that. I worked all the time because in the industry, you're working on the weekends, right? Artists have shows, you might have, interviews or video shoots or even on the weekends. So I was working when I first started. I was like, no, I need to prove, right, that deserve to be here. And so I didn't say no to anything. I just was like, all right, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna figure it out. So now I'm like, nah, y'all can wait. It's not that urgent. It's not that urgent. You won't die. I think
exactly.
Taking and having people understand, like, no, you're human. You have life on your own. There's been times where Like I have stories where like I took a shower and I come out and I have like calls on calls. I'm like, yo, I
Oh
can't shower
man.
on the
Oh
weekend.
man.
Can I have time for myself at least at minimum 30 minutes, please?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but advocating for yourself and communicate
Yes.
that, because if you don't communicate that, then people think that you're always accessible. You
That's
have to
the part
set the
right there.
boundaries and
Exactly.
execute and force those boundaries, right? Because if you don't, then people are going to continue to play with you. And I can't do my job and I can't help you become great if I'm not functioning at my best.
Mhm.
So I need my little day, my Sunday, or I need the
Mhm.
Saturday, or I'll always respond, or I got you. I'm not gonna leave you hanging or out there, but I still need time for myself so I could
Yeah.
I need to do for you, and I
You
think
can't
once
pour from an empty cup,
I can't pour
you
from an
know?
empty cup. So once you communicate it like that, because everybody need their time. There's times where I'm bugging artists
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yes.
yo, sometimes I'm that person. And they got to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yo, Cheyenne, I just need a moment. Because when I need an answer, I need an answer. And I'm calling
Yes.
you, I'm texting you, what's up? I'm sending you eyes, question mark. So sometimes they need to tell me, I had an artist tell me, chill out.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
all right, cool. All right, cool. The times where I need my moment, I respect it. You need your moment. And I think once, there's a respectability there, and once you can respect each other's times, then you should be good.
Absolutely. And at least they know you're on your job. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not dropping the ball, but at the same time, yeah, you gotta take time for yourself. If there was one thing that you could have done differently in regards to pursuing your career, whether it was mismanagement or like a missed opportunity, what would that have been?
I wouldn't say anything. I think every mistake that I've made, right, has helped me. It was always a lesson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say everything that I've done, every little mishap or anything like that has always helped me become a better person, learn,
Yes.
be able to provide insight for someone else. And I think, once you kind of get into like, what would I have done differently or whatever, then you start to doubt yourself and your capabilities, because you can always turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
been missed jobs that I've had, and where I didn't get the job or get the role or the promotion or whatever. And I'm like, well, damn, I second guess myself and what I'm capable of. And
Mm-hmm.
when I start to do that, it's self-defeating mentality. You
Exactly.
carry that with you. And so I've experienced that 1000%. I remember when
Mm-hmm.
I was transitioning out of my role working with Jadena into the industry, like the label side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was a gap where I wasn't working, and I interviewed for this position, and I really wanted it. I thought it was a shoe-in. I was recommended, and I was like, this is it. I'm back. And I didn't get it. And I was so sad. I was just like, wow. I didn't understand why I didn't land that job. And then a few months later, I got offered my opportunity, and I'm like, wow, this is actually more responsibility, more of an opportunity for me to grow. And
Mm-hmm.
not once you get caught up in that, then you don't see what's coming around the horizon.
Yes.
Right. And so if you start to get defeated, then you're not going to continue to push,
You're right. It
and
becomes self
that's
sabotaging.
right. That's when you might lead into that missed opportunity, because you didn't see what was waiting for you right after.
Mm-hmm.
So caught up on, that no, that you didn't see
Mm-hmm.
that yes, right? Like that no was opening you up for something bigger and better,
Yes.
So I don't get caught up in those things anymore, because I know that everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
I know that reason now, but that reason is to help me become where more further than where I thought I could be,
Exactly. Exactly. No L's, just lessons.
Nope.
And when one door of opportunity closes, another opens. It's the ebb and flow of life, right? You're never ever going to stay down unless you keep yourself there. Like you said, having that defeatist mentality, leaning into the, I don't deserve that. And as long as you just continue to pick up the ball and run with it, sky's the limit.
Yep.
So what advice did you give aspiring women of color in the music business?
I would say a couple things. I would say find your tribe for sure, because coming up in this industry, it can be a lot. It can be taxing, stressful. It can be sometimes lonely because you have so much stuff to do. You might not be able to chill with your friends or hang out with your friends as much as you like. So finding your tribe of women, whether they're in or outside of the industry, to really support you and help you and just be there, be that place of solace, right? Or solitude where you can just be you or let loose or like confide in them and the shit that you got going on where they might really understand. I think that that's really important. Not letting no man or no one else tell you you can't do something because you can do whatever it is. There's female producers who coming up right now. I think this is so important that we understand that there's no space, there's no avenue, there's no industry that we can't conquer, whether it's the music industry, whether it's tech, whether it's the medical field. Just understanding our power and understanding that we create life.
There's something special about us.
We have the opportunity to tell somebody no. I think a lot of times, and this is something that I continue to struggle with, is I always feel the need to say yes. Me. And I always find myself in a position where I'm like, I told you so. You know what I'm saying? If I'm telling myself so, like, don't
listen to your intuition.
Don't force anything, right? Like if it doesn't feel right, it does not feel right. Don't do it. You don't want to be in a position where you're vulnerable or taken advantage of, or because you think it might make you better position. I think continuing to stay true to who you are and maintain a level of respect for yourself is really, and not just
maintaining your integrity
and not doing anything that you don't want to do, and just saying no.
Oh my gosh, establishing boundaries, maintaining your integrity, being true to yourself, like not letting other people get in your head and tell you what you can and can't do. Like all of those things are just magical. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
What are some common misconceptions that people have about Black women in music? Or any field, really. Okay.
I think people think that there's a lot of mean girl energy. You know, and thinking that because we work in this industry that we feel like, and that's not the case. You know, it's like, nah, we cool. We just want to get work done. You know, I've heard a lot of those. Or if you are putting in the work, then you a BI. You know, like, you know, that's what they calling you. Like, nah, I'm just aggressive. I'm gonna tell you no. I'm not gonna say yes. So that's something that I've heard a lot, that from the outside looking in, there might be some mean girl energy with women in the industry, or more on the like sexual side, obviously, that there's sexual exchange for us to be in these positions. But no, again, I think that's more of a matter of like trying to diminish what we can do, and what we can provide in our worth. No, I belong, and I have a seat at this table, just like you, and I probably worked harder for it, simply because I'm a woman, right? I belong here, and probably more than you.
You're absolutely right about being able to bring something to the table. Sometimes we're working much harder than our constituents, and we got there on our own merit. So it's very important for us to keep our heads high as we're walking into those rooms that are male dominated, or just where we might be the only woman of color at the table, to take ownership of that and to sit with that and make sure that people respect what you're doing. So my next question is in regards to how women of color can advocate for one another. How can we uplift one another in this industry?
I think there's many ways, but I think what's most important is always keeping one in mind. You know, whenever you have an opportunity, whenever you feel like, you know, there's a way that you can put another woman or another Black woman on, think to yourself, you know, is there a woman that I know that could do this job better? You know, and I think about it like that, then we put our own on. You know, I think oftentimes put their homie on, so we gotta put our sister on.
Yes.
And providing opportunity. I think, as I said before, earlier on, community and building that, building your tribe and always giving back is super, super important to me. So like I started a nonprofit a while ago, back in 2015, when after I graduated from UPenn, called Young Black in Brooklyn. And what I do is I provide spaces for millennials to gather and talk about things that they have issues with, whether it's in the community or in the workplace, or holding forums about our grievances, with politics, even. That is providing those spaces, I think, is also ways that you can help others and bring people up, because you're allowing them a space where they can be them. And then also with the work we've done is providing opportunities, jobs, internships, any opportunity that I have come across my desk where someone is looking for an internship. I always reach out and tell my little mentors, mentees, I should say, and I like, hey, do you know anyone, or do you have a friend who might be interested? And always providing that opportunity is something that I think is most important.
Definitely. Bridging into the community, allowing space for people to speak their truths and be honest with themselves and each other. That's honestly part of the ethos of this podcast as well, is just to make sure that people know they're not alone in their experiences, that we all share a relatable experience being a Black woman in a male-dominated space, but then also needed to lean on each other. So I appreciate that. In terms of a nonprofit, we're gonna have to talk separately about that, because that's always been something I wanted to build in the future. So, but I have no idea what even goes into that. So
yeah, for sure. It's really like a lot of work. And what I do, like even to make it fun, or like even provide opportunities, like bring in artists too, to sometimes like, do a quick little performance at a toy drive or whatever, or have them give back to their community. Because I think it makes my job easier as well, as having notable people, influencers, people in the community who these kids look up to. They come, they're like, okay, she's doing her thing. Maybe I should listen to what she's saying. It's all about hiding the medicine in the applesauce. All about the artists, the social media, or whatever. So I'll provide the opportunity, but I'm also going to tell you something while you're here.
Yes. It's a win-win.
Right, exactly.
So I appreciate you so much for being on the show. You definitely gave some great insight into not only what it takes to do what you do in the industry, but what it's like being a Black woman in this industry and how we can link and connect with one another. So I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know we didn't know each other or anything like that, but you were so gracious, and I appreciate you for that.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. And I'm so glad that, we're able to have a conversation.
Yes. So what can we expect from Cheyenne in the future? What are you working on these days that you're excited about? And how can people connect with you?
I mean, I think right now I'm super focused in, I just entered a new role. So I'm super excited about building out these artists and put out these fire projects, still building some stuff on the community side. So I'm working on some things that not ready to talk about yet, but definitely some big things within the Brooklyn area that involves me as well. But it's going to be definitely a dope give back community event. So super excited about that. Just trying to continue to push and make sure that try to keep these artists as sane as possible, and, trying to figure out the best way to merge, mental health and music. Cause I think that is a moment in itself. So definitely trying to make that a thing as well.
That's lovely. And yes, girl, if you need anything from me, even if it's just, support from the sidelines, let me know, girl. All about that life.
And vice versa. I know we both in this industry, so.
Exactly. All right. Well, I appreciate you again. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you.
Remember, stay positive, inspired, and true to yourself. Go out there and kill it. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on Pub Royalty Queen Podcast.